We are on standby for a major commitment from that of a Jaxon Dollar, 5-star tight end. Lots of great things happening in the sports world and specifically for Georgia football. I am Keegan, my co-host is Chito, and we are back again for another episode of Dogs Off the Leash. Woo!
Hey, yo, what up, Keegan?
What's up, bro?
So it's kind of weird, we've been talking so much about spring, about G-Day, about what the 2026 version of UJ is going to look like, depth charts, players, draft, all that stuff. It's kind of weird to abruptly turn the page, but here we are, right? We're shifting into what is a big chunk of the recruiting cycle as it is now with the different changing commitment days. And especially right now, we just had 4-star Jerry Outhouse Jr. decommit from Georgia. And right now, Georgia is not doing so great on the recruiting trail. I think we've fallen a pretty good ways. Teams like Florida are celebrating their victory over us as it stands. But as we know, when it comes to Kirby Smart, this early in the cycle, we have a lot of work to do. And hopefully that starts in about 5 minutes with the tight end from North Carolina.
I hope so, man. I'm going to be honest up front here. I think this lines up perfect with the Todd Hartley banger after banger, getting another high-profile player after another high-profile player for what is definitely tight end university here at UGA. But on the other hand, Miami desperately needs a tight end. They have a unlimited budget, and pretty much Jaxon Dollar would start almost day one. So I think Miami is our best shot at losing this commitment, but outside of the NIL modern sense of things, Jaxon Dollar has said everything positive about Georgia you want to hear. So it's kind of a toss-up to me on how this goes, but I think if we do lose it, it's to Miami just based on what I've heard him say about Miami and the fact that they desperately need a tight end and have a lot of money. So we'll see about it, but if we can get him, dude, he's a standout recruit. I like the basketball guys, but specifically this dude, he might be the only Georgia football commit or prospect we've talked about recently with the basketball background who I think could actually play at Georgia for the men's basketball team. So dude is super legit, and he's got all the stretchy, springy, top-end catching abilities that you really only see from other greats who also had basketball backgrounds like Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez. So Jaxon Dollar is legit, and that is why.
It's hard to argue because you got a team like Miami, like you're saying, that needs somebody to come in, and they're willing to throw money at everyone. Whereas in Georgia, we have a crowded room, but we also have proof of concept, right? When you talk about who he's going to get coached by and what the trajectory of his career is going to look like, when you come to Georgia, you're going to go to the NFL at the elite level. In this offense where we may not throw it down the field to our wide receivers all the time, but our tight ends are definitely involved. And then you look at Todd Hartley, what he's done. I mean, it's been absolute banger after absolute banger, going back all the way to 2016 with Isaac Nada. Luke Ford ended up transferring out. Darnell Washington, even though he was an athlete in 2020, is an NFL player and was a big contributor here. Brock Bowers, don't need to mention him. Oscar Delp just got drafted to the Saints. Pierce Spurlin ended up with a medical condition, so didn't have the career he wanted. And then you've got Jaden Riddell, Elias Williams, and Caden Prothro, who are all looking to impact this team this year. So where Georgia may not have the number one tight end every year, by the time these guys leave the University of Georgia, they're bona fide NFL tight ends ready to contribute right away. So it'll depend on what matters to him, and we'll find out very soon what that is. And as we speak, mind you, we're about to go live. So once CBS's coverage of his commitment goes in, we'll keep talking to you guys, but we will react as soon as the news drops, whichever way it goes. And then we'll talk about some other tight ends on the roster now, as well as another commit from Roswell that Keegan was actually really excited about.
Hell yeah. So one dude that we have currently, Braden Fogel, I think kind of fits the mold of the basketball background tight end. And I really like what I see from Jaxon Dollar on tape. Dude is just going up and catching, mossing people in a way I've only seen maybe George Pickens do, Terry Godwin do, Tavares King. Like, very few Georgia players have this specific type of skill set. So Jaxon Dollar can do that, and if he does come to Georgia, expect some big corner of the end zone highlights from our man Jaxon Dollar. So I'm excited for the commitment. But the thing I find interesting about Jaxon Dollar, if Jaxon Dollar slims down a hair, he could almost play receiver. And if there's any question, if Georgia is willing to pursue using the skill set appropriately, just look at what we're doing with Caden Prothro, lining him up at the receiver position, giving him a chance to use his skill sets at a high level. So if we're bringing in guys like Caden Prothro, guys like Braden Fogel, and now potentially Jaxon Dollar, they're not as beefy and blockerish, if that is a term. My mom's an English teacher, so I'll get in trouble. But they're not as beefy or traditional as an old school tight end. They're more of the skill set, true hybrid. Kirby's going to be trying to teach them to block from day one to the last day they graduate type of guys. But we're willing to mix in and find ways to get these guys on the field. So that's what I like, Chito, because if you look at the tight end room now, there's a lot of variety, and it just goes to show that Georgia looks at the tight end position. Like, you might play tight end, but you might have 3 or 4 different types of roles within that position, just like running back, just like receiver. So I think that's cool. And this guy specifically will be probably the best catching tight end maybe Georgia's ever gotten since last year when we got Caden Prothro. Like, as good as Brock Bowers is, it's not like he was just the most amazing highlight reel catcher. Like, he had a few, but he was more so yards after catch guy, break tackles guy, route running guy. Like, he did a lot of things at an A-plus level, but this guy catches at an all-time high. Like, his dunking highlights from his junior year of high school tell me that maybe if he plays the senior year, he could end up getting some big time scholarships from basketball schools. So
they are sitting with Jaxon Dollar and his family, getting ready to make this commitment. And Keegan, you're right, that athleticism says a lot. His highlight reel is insane. I wish I knew more about the kid and like what the family's like. I can't really tell like what's important to him. But as the rest of the world is going to find out with us, we're going to have to find out, because he's going to have to make a decision. Is it early playing time and money, or does he want to go to the proof of concept and be a part of a juggernaut, especially when you consider tight end U being UGA? So
the moment is here. There's no hats on the table. So I'm curious to see what you're about to do, but we've got the finalists: Clemson, Georgia, Miami, Notre Dame, and Texas. Where are you continuing your academic and athletic career?
First off, I just want to thank God, everybody that's here to support me, family, high school coaches that believed me the whole way, college coaches for really starting it all. And thank my mom. Thank my mom for it all. Yeah, but with that being said,
oh shit, let's go!
Hey, hey, listen. When the case opened up with the money, I was like, okay, he wanted them tight. And then the G came out, and I was like, NFL money's what we talking about.
Huge
and that
for Kirby Smart.
Dude, that is huge. Don't sleep on Kirby.
Wow.
Love that, man. Go Dogs. Dude, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. And it's a lot of the things that we said. And I was reading a little bit of some of the articles on him. If you follow the visits, which is an old adage in recruiting, as money has kind of come in, it's been less prevalent because people are willing to take the bag. But he's been coming to games. I think he was at G-Day. He's been coming to practice. As he mentioned, Kirby yelling at everybody. It's like a staple. He knows, if I go to the University of Georgia, and mind you, we've had a lot of success with players from North Carolina, Todd Gurley being the big one, Jordan Davis as a 3-star. So we've had a lot of success from top-tier players from North Carolina. Ojboko right now, really good player. So I felt kind of confident from that standpoint. The Miami point that you brought up did kind of give me some hesitation, but people love to kick Georgia when they're down. Lost a 4-star corner, especially from Texas with Outhouse. We know he's going to be getting offers from Texas Tech with their gambling issues, A&M, Longhorns. Like, he'll find a home. But when it comes to tight ends in this country and this era of college football, going to Georgia is the safest bet that you can make as a tight end. Great day to be a dog. Good bounce back, early bounce back, and it's nice to catch it live, right, Keeks?
Man, that was a great thing, because this class was actually down to 20, which is probably about the lowest it's ever been in the Kirby era. Now, granted, I'm not saying this can't be the year that we bring in 12 or 13 transfers or something, but like pulling in this recruit, Jaxon Dollar is like on another tier of catching the ball. I don't know. It's like, I'm not about to just go ahead and say he's better than Caden Prothrow at catching it, but he's on a high pedestal.
He can play ball.
Me.
He can play ball. And now he's another offensive weapon in the class of 2027. Mind you, we've got the number 1 running back in Kamon Spell. And Georgia, we're so used to having all the defensive monsters, which we always do, but to see that star running back, that star tight end, as a Georgia fan, even the last few years, my buddy I was talking to on the phone the other day, he was saying, when are we going to get that next Nick Chubb? When are we going to get that next, maybe not No Sean, but like a TG3, that superstar running back? Hopefully Nate Frazier can be that, but it's been more of a like B+ guys in a committee for the last little bit, right? When you talk about when you talk about Prothrow this year, when you talk about Jaxon Dollar, these guys have the potential to be that game changer on offense. And if we have that with the defense that we've been building, Georgia's going to be a problem.
Oh, for sure. And another guy that we just got kind of on the back end of the 26 class, a last-minute add, Nick Peel from Roswell, Georgia. He was actually a cornerback throughout high school. Junior year going into senior year, new coaching staff comes in, asks Nick Peel if he would play running back. He signs up for it, full pot committed, an absolute specimen.
Keegan, a little clarity here, because I'm looking at the DAWGS 24/7. Is Nick Peel, he just committed not too long ago, but he's not listed as a 2020 in the 2027 class? What's the...
No, he's a 2026 commit that was added last minute.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like he committed, what, a week ago?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so Nick Peel, 1,500 yard season. Roswell is in the class of the Titans of Georgia high school football. You know, it's some of the best football in the nation. So, to me, anybody who can do that, put together the highlight reel he did, only do it in 1 year of playing the position, because he changed from cornerback to running back his senior year, puts it all together, has an outstanding season, and then ends up getting a last-minute offer from Georgia. And, Chito, let me tell you some of these numbers. He bench presses 405. He squats 600 pounds. He power cleans like 375. He's got a 4.440. Absolute specimen. To me, if Kamon Spell doesn't work out, if one of these other guys doesn't work out, then maybe Nick Peel is the next Georgia great, as you say. But I think we're just so spoiled at the running back position that we expect the tip of the spear. But who we got is excellent, really good running back room, and I expect some growth. So maybe Chauncey Bowens or Dwight Phillips, maybe Jay Lamar is the guy that ends up being the splash player that we need in the 2026 season. So
I will say, man, if you kind of look at patterns, and again, college is changing right now, so it's hard to know what exactly is a winning formula. Whereas it used to be depth. Last year with Indiana, it was more older players that have been around the game for a long time, whether it's edge rushers, defense, offense, what have you. If the NFL is a quarterback-driven league, which holds, if college can be a running back dominant and a mismatch from a tight end-like position, Georgia's going to be doing all right for the next few years, because we have a stable of running backs going down all the way to Jay Lamar and Nick Peel, like you said. And now Jaxon Dollar. I mean, the rich just get richer. And if those two positions can be utilized in college football, especially in our offense, the way we play, I think Georgia's going to be in that conversation for quite some time, even while the sport changes from what feels like day to day.
I'm telling you guys, Jaxon Dollar's dunk package is nasty. This guy has the get up. So when you see him get up, have these emphatic slams, 2 or 3, maybe sometimes even 4 in a game, like you can tell because the highlight hasn't changed. If someone like that has the get up, just imagine him in a Georgia uniform, back of the end zone, Sanford Stadium. You need a touchdown, the 50-50 ball. Jaxon Dollar is the best guy we've had since George Pickens, since Terry Godwin. I'm not saying he'll be the best tight end, but just based on what I've seen on film already from the highlights he had just in high school, this dude is legit. Todd Hartley, man.
Yeah, Todd Hartley, I don't know how much longer we're going to have, buddy, but he is absolutely doing his thing. And just to pivot just a little bit for some other sports in Georgia that are absolutely holding it down, the Atlanta Braves, man, we got to give some love to ATL. Currently have the best record in baseball. It's still early in the season. I think tomorrow they are traveling to Colorado to take on the Rockies. Most people, it's hard not to view the Dodgers as like being one of those teams that's just going to be ridiculous. But you see a team like the Mets who have spent X, Y, and Z money on their roster, and they're one of the worst teams in the league. So to Atlanta's credit, Atlanta may not spend the most, but here as of late, especially in the 2020s, they have just been producing good baseball teams, especially if you take away the injury portion of it. Just really leading the MLB and really handling a lot of our in-division rivals too. So shout out to the Braves. They are absolutely doing their thing. And then Keegan, I know you had a tough loss at the hands of the New York Knicks.
Yeah, the Hawks just don't have the experience right now. And CJ McCollum can't do it on his own. That's not what he's supposed to be here to do. So yeah, it was a frustrating loss. They really dropped the ball. Jalen Johnson hasn't shown up, and some of the younger pieces just need more playoff experience. You got to give credit to New York. They played excellent basketball. They put a lot of these pieces together. Just like I was just saying, the Braves have had things on the roster where you're hoping it clicks, where that's been New York for like the last 15 years or so. So finally, they've got these things on paper that are truly clicking for them. And I don't like New York at all. Honestly, I can't stand them, but I'm not going to fault when a lot of high-level strategy, good coaching, and great players are making the team do well. Like, I got to give them credit where credit's due. How about the rest of the NBA playoffs, and just who are you seeing as kind of the clear favorite, or do you have one as of right now? And what do you think about Atlanta's chances to flip the script?
Yeah, I think injuries can change all this, right, in any day, but most of my friends are Atlanta Hawks fans, so I've been talking to a lot of them about this series, and I swear I'm not a hater as far as, like, what I'm seeing on the court. I'm not an Atlanta Hawks fan, but to me, Atlanta does feel like they overachieved in the regular season, but the regular season is not the playoffs, right? A lot of this team does not have playoff experience, and on top of that, you're facing a team that one of their best players, and Karl Anthony Towns, is a bad mismatch for the Hawks. And this team is playoff ready. They are one of the Eastern Conference favorites. They haven't played that well in the regular season, but again, that's over. So I don't know if it'll be 6 games. I don't know if it'll be 7 games, but I really felt like this was a bad matchup for Atlanta, but there's still time. So I'll just leave it at that. The Lakers have lost 2 in a row to the Rockets without Kevin Durant. I'm not super worried about them, but as the series goes on, anything can happen. So I do expect the Lakers to wrap this up. Will it be 6 or 7? I don't know. Same situation as the Hawks. And as far as favorites, I felt like Boston was one of those teams that was really just going to march through the Eastern Conference, especially with no Indiana this year due to health. Same thing with Milwaukee for most of the season. But Philadelphia is giving them a run for their money, and they're having the other side of the coin with health. Joel Embiid has come back and is doing Joel Embiid things. You've got Edgecombe balling, Tyrese Maxey doing his thing, PG being the veteran presence there, so we'll see how that goes. And unfortunately, the other favorite for me, as much as I hate watching these guys play basketball, if the Lakers win this series against the Houston Rockets, they're going to run into a buzzsaw, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are deep. SGA, which is the worst. I hate watching this guy play, but they've got this elite whistle right now. So not only is he good, but he's getting 12 free throws a game. They have a great defense. They're deep. The only thing to slow them down will be if Jalen Williams, his injury is prolonged, and that brings them down a notch. And that still might not be enough for somebody to beat them. But you do have the Spurs, you do have the Nuggets in the West. So those 3 teams, I think. So in the Western Conference Finals, I'll go ahead and take OKC versus Denver Nuggets. Championship experience with both teams. You have the Joker, you got SGA. I would love to see that, if not the Lakers. Doesn't look like Luke is coming back. So give me Boston, New York in the East for the conference, and then Denver Nuggets and OKC as it stands right now, barring injury. That's kind of what I'm seeing.
Is Denver and Minnesota, are they tied up now?
No, it's 3-2 Minnesota, but without DiVincenzo and Ant Edwards, somebody's going to have to put Denver away, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So all the home teams need a legendary performance. I don't care how you get it or who gives it to you, but you need it tonight to keep your season alive.
Yeah, and I think the Hawks can do it, but someone's got to step up and actually be that guy. That's the only truly frustrating thing. I mean, I'm proud of the season we had, and considering how we traded Trae Young and the expectations just completely plummeted, like, there was a lot of highs after that considering, but I would prefer us just lose close games than feel like we completely played outside of our identity that made us do well throughout the season. It is playoff basketball, but like Jalen Johnson just needs to play with a little bit more swagger and aggression, because he really has like held it down at times. So he's like 23, 24.
Yeah,
so,
they're young. And to the Hawks' credit, as a Hawks fan, and really the same way with the Lakers, you weren't expected to contend for the conference, let alone a title this year, especially with the changes you've made to your roster. But you can plan on a really big offseason, right? If Atlanta adds a couple of pieces in the front court, I think they're going to make noise. The Eastern Conference is a little bit tougher than it is most years, but Atlanta can be top 4, top 5 in that group of really, really legit contenders. And really the same thing with the Lakers. You have a good roster, but you need some more defense to support Luka and AR. What's LeBron going to do? Will he take a deal? Will he go to Cleveland? We don't know. Will DeAndre Ayton stay? He had a great night last night, but I think with the cap space that you have and 3 first-round draft picks, I think you can really improve this team, especially when you speak of the new executives or management and the LA Dodgers coming in. Those guys are winners, right? The Dodgers may not have the best record in baseball due to the Braves, but that is a championship organization, and hopefully some of that leaks over to the Los Angeles Lakers. So big off seasons in store for both Atlanta and LA.
Yeah, and it's so interesting to me how the landscape of NBA basketball just completely shifts in 5 years. Like, if you just woke up from a coma or just were out of it for a season or two, because really I've only kind of paid attention to the Hawks the last couple of years, and then I look up and it's like KD's on the Rockets now. Like, there's just so many moves that I honestly can't keep up, and the free agency in NBA basketball is that of no other. It probably trumps the transfer portal, honestly.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like 2K. That's half of the fun of NBA basketball now, right? Like, I'll buy a 2K anytime like I feel like it's a good roster for a team that I support, right? I'll skip a few years, be like, oh, the Lakers have Luka. I'm getting that version of 2K, right? That's half the fun. But that's how it goes. So I'm excited to see a lot of these games unfold, and we'll make sure to tap in with you guys as the NBA playoffs continue on. Georgia looks like it's about to start one of its May and June heaters on the recruiting trail, so we'll make sure that we tap in with you guys and hopefully catch some of these commitments as we go. Keegan, always appreciate you. Dog Nation, always a blast. Make sure you catch us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And as always, guys, you know what it is.
Off the leash.
Off the leash.
I do it for